I'd like to welcome Aaron Bishop. Now, Aaron is the Director of the Administration on Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities, and again, has been following all of your progress, and I'm so pleased he's able to come here. It's a hard deal if you're in D.C. to get out of town. And make the time for an entire day. So I'm just thrilled that they're able to join us, and Aaron's able to join us today and hear what we've got to say. So Aaron, if you would say a few words.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning? Good, good. You know, and I mean this in a very positive way, but you know, this day has been a long time coming. For two very important reasons. You know, first one being logistically, and putting together an event like this is never an easy thing to do. So I think we want to thank Mary Lee and NASD's and everyone here at NASD's for their assistance. We heard Carl earlier, and I don't know where Shelley went. Shelley's over here now. We want to thank Shelley and UMKC for everything that they have done. We have our evaluation team that is here as well from Oregon. I didn't see them walk in either. Where is John? Oh, there's John and his team. So I think we want to give everybody a round of applause for helping put this day and this event together. You've already, and I was going to introduce them as well, so you've already met Larissa, who's your project officer. She's very well-rounded when it comes to family support. She's been engaged with supporting families and family support for a number of years, going back to the Family Support 360 days at AIDD, which is what is then known as ADD. So she has a vast experience in this area. And the same thing with Pat, who, when she was with the council, she initially had a Family Support 360 grant, being a parent as well. So she's well-versed in this area as well. So you have a team of individuals at ACL who are very interested and very passionate in this particular issue. You know, this really was the brainchild of Sharon Lois, the former commissioner of AIDD, who's now the principal deputy at ACL. And the work that we're seeing here is, we're curious and we're interested in today in knowing what is going on, because it has some implications for the future. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but just to say that we're so happy and proud of where things have come from. You know, you've had fighters and individuals like Liz Hecht who have been pushing the envelope, and others in the room, but I know her personally, Liz, who have been pushing this envelope for years. And everything seemed to come together in 2011 during Wingspread, where people were able to sit down to develop a common agenda and develop a common plan, and to see that carry forward. That led to this particular grant. This is a direct outcome of what happened in Wingspread. And I see how many, we have 10, 15 people here that were at Wingspread. If you were there, could you please raise your hand? I know Nancy was there, John was there. Okay, I thought there were a few more, but so these are some of the individuals that were part of that brain trust that put the Wingspread report together. So if you haven't read that, I suggest that you do. I believe it's on our website, and I believe it may be on AUCD's website, if I'm not mistaken. Go back and read that report. It's fascinating to see. That's where things, I say, you know, in the current generation, that's where they've started. This is where they've moved to now. But I don't know if anyone paid attention to, because, you know, they're somewhat dry and boring to read, but did anyone read the president's budget last year and the HHS president's budget? If you didn't read it, you should. Because there's something in it that's very important, that we were able to get through OMB, first through HHS, then OMB, and hopefully we'll receive some funding through Congress. And that's a $15 million, I have it right here, a $15 million family support project that's based somewhat off of the work that you all are doing here. So it started with the community of practice. They took some of the learnings. We didn't have much. But knowing that we were coming to the end of the administration, we had to take what we could and to develop it into a much larger project. We know that we're not putting enough money into supporting families. We realize that. So we had to take the opportunity at that time to do something that would be much bigger, that would have much greater reach, that would reach 10 to 15 states, if not more, doing similar work as you're doing now. Not exactly the same, but similar. But in addition to that, this is inclusive of not only the disability community, but the aging community. And so we were looking at how do we build evidence-based and promising practices, and looking specifically as it relates to Alzheimer and dementia care, where they do have an evidence base, and how do you support families and people who are living and going through that lived experience. How do we take and bring and develop communities of practice within states to focus on policy and policy development and implementation? This is what's in here. This is part of the $15 million. And where did this come from? Some of the expertise in this room. So the next step for us, and which is why we're so excited about what's happening today, is if these are funded, and we have to start developing funding opportunity announcements, what we're going to be looking at as models are the work that each and every one of you are doing. Your work will become the model for this project. No pressure at all. But that's the evolution. That's why we need outcomes. That's why we need information. The reason that we were able to get this, the reason that we were able to put this FOA together for the community of practice was specifically because of the data that we have. We know about the stress and the strain of caregivers. We know that 80% of people aren't connected to services, and why that is. That's because of the data that we have. Again, we don't have a lot on outcomes yet. That's next. But it was the data that we collect, the data that we have through AIDD's projects, some through Kaiser, some through RAND and other places. That's why we were able to push these forward, because we could actually show and demonstrate that there was need. The next step for OMB and Congress, because this, if we have a budget passed, it will be part of this upcoming budget and this part of the upcoming appropriation cycle. It will be, do we have outcomes? And so if we have outcomes based upon the work that you all are doing today, this is the information that we as AIDD and ACL will take to the Hill to say, this is why we need this. This is why we need this $15 million, because of the seed money we put out and the outcomes that we're seeing. We need to replicate and duplicate that. So last year you heard me talk about outcomes and why it was so important. We're now moving closer and closer to that. So the work that you're doing, it's not only real from what's going on in your particular states and potential states and jurisdictions, but it can become real for the rest of the U.S. as well, which is extremely powerful, extremely humbling, and also a little bit scary. But scary and exciting in a good way. So I'm telling you this because I hope you can tell that I'm excited. I'm excited because we need to, the three of us are going to take this back, distill it, work with people in the room to help synthesize this information so that if we have outcomes, we can figure out a way to share it with OMB and some of our elected officials. So again, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for being able and willing to share your experiences. And we are really excited about learning what's going on and seeing how years 3 and 4 can help us push supporting families down the line in the future. So thank you very much, and I hope everyone has a pleasant day.